You believe you have to choose between being successful and staying true to your values. Too many people in the city feel that they face this choice, and it's either one or the other. My name is Justine Lutrod, and I'm Director for the Center for Synchronous Leadership. And we believe passionately that it is possible to do both. One of the aims of Inspire Like a Man, Lead Like a Woman is to take a group of leaders outside of their comfort zone, outside of the corporate world where it seems that you have to choose between power and values, and into a new world, a new domain that we co-create. In that world, by candlelight, anything seems possible.
I'm not feeling quite so courageous just at this second, but it's such a lovely environment, it's such a beautiful hall.
I can't believe Justine's brought us to an armoury to sort of bear all. She has no sense whatsoever. So we have to have our defences down, and my defences are going to come down pretty bloody fast, according to the script she's written for me.
It was my first time. I was invited by a friend and very glad I came.
I've been here, I think, 4 or 5 times. I'm almost addicted to these events, always coming back.
In each of our events, there are 3 panelists. And these panelists share stories that go back to their childhood, what forms them, what made them who they are as human beings and as leaders, what shaped their values.
I'm the product of what the Daily Mail would call an alpha female and a house husband.
I was the only boy. I had 2 younger sisters, and therefore I was expected to be capital R responsible.
It never occurred to me that people treated my mum differently for being a woman in a position of leadership. So it never occurred to me that women couldn't lead.
I used to be a rioter. Not writer, R-I, a rioter. And people said to me, "Did you throw stones and bricks?" I did. I threw the biggest bricks I could find.
I liked how they refer back to their upbringing and their childhoods and how that influenced them. More than anything, I liked the fact that they were real people of integrity.
I thought it was remarkable that men could speak so openly in a forum with perfect strangers about subjects that are probably difficult enough to talk about in a workplace.
And from those values, you see them emerge to this key decision point. At this decision point, everything feels like it's on the line. And you as a participant are asked, what would you do in that situation?
I realised that I've been set up to fail spectacularly. I was reluctant to pass the abuse downwards, so I actually kept it to myself.
And it was such a shock. I mean, even now I'm feeling quite shocked. It's like, how can he get away with this? It's outrageous.
And you sort of think, so hell, how am I going to sort this guy out? Because he isn't listening.
And I came back off that really in quite a difficult place. I didn't know whether I wanted to stay with the firm. I didn't know what this meant for my career. You know, the stakes were incredibly high.
So I truly knew nothing. They knew I knew nothing. They told me I knew nothing. The people outside the organisation thought this is an evil empire. I had to turn it into something else.
And I'm thinking, okay, Marianne, this is a career-limiting move. Because if this doesn't work, oh no, you've had it.
The panelists who share their stories step down from the pedestal of perfection and come to the audience on the same level as human beings who have emotions, who have strengths and who have weaknesses, and who are on a journey.
In talking, you have to show a degree of vulnerability and admit that perhaps there's some times when you weren't in complete control of everything.
I don't normally feel vulnerable in any space, any environment, but I did tonight, I did.
By leveraging and harnessing the collective wisdom of the group to go through these solutions, there's a real power.
I actually love these events. Having been a panelist myself, I found it very, very rewarding being able to share my story and also to get some insights back from many of the people that attended.
For me, I think the most interesting thing was the fact there's a lot of people in the room sharing a lot of very similar problems, a lot of similar issues that they face in their business, and we're all from different businesses.
I do wish I'd had you all on hand when this was happening. These are great ideas.
In each one of the Inspire Like a Man, Lead Like a Woman events, we cover a different topic. So we've had topics such as working with ego, building trust, transcending unconscious bias. Each one of these topics brings forth a new set of insights, and yet the common denominator remains the same.
I completely lost any sort of work-life balance, just completely. My clothes were grey, my skin was grey. That was it. And so when my boss, who's still a great friend, called me into her office and said, here's your bonus. I opened it and went, great, I'm going to buy a boat and go off sailing. She went, really? I went, yep. And that's what I did.
And it just wasn't worth it. Why lose your dignity? You know, why lose your self-respect having that sort of a row? What's the point?
And I think he thought the nerve of the girl. I mean, he was absolutely shocked that he called my bluff and told me, why don't you head up the department?
There is this tension between power and between love, life, the masculine and the feminine. And how we navigate that as men, as women, as human beings will define the path for ethical leadership going forward and define how fulfilling we find our own lives and how authentic we feel in our own skin.
What the company did was they flew me and my 3-year-old child first class to Finland for the board meeting. And so he sat beside me at the board meeting, coloring, and then he fell asleep.
So that was the solution. It took a whole day of argument and discussion. Those 5 words were difficult to come to, but we got through it, and that was my major contribution.
When the next set of leadership of the firm came and tapped me on the shoulder again and said, you seem like quite a likely lass, why aren't you a partner? I said, that's a really good question, and I damn well think I ought to be, so I'm back on that pony.
The first sessions, they were booming. They were boo, 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 get out, you, blah, blah, blah. But a month later, I would leave those sessions and they would applaud me and stand up.
And so the point was to create the experience that not only showed that a third way is possible, but also left a group of participants, a community, empowered to take that forward beyond the evening itself.
I think these circles to allow people to be able to gather and share their stories inspires a lot of people.
It's really useful, isn't it, to sometimes have a moment to pause and reflect on the things that you've done in life and what you've learnt from them and what that means for what you do next.
This is no exaggeration, this is different. It's different to the standard leadership or management or whatever you want to call it, sessions I've been to. This is all about me and what I can give back to others. It's fantastic.
And it's very interesting to sort of hear about the ways that other people have solved problems.
There's definitely aspects that I can think about. There's aspects that I can take to into discussions with my friends outside work, and also things that I can bring to work tomorrow.
It's impossible not to attend something like this and not take home a message that's personal to yourself.
I've certainly taken away a lot of learning and a lot of reflection on my own ability to handle situations and what it brings to the way in which I work with people.
I would absolutely recommend it to anybody who is looking at self-reflection and personal development and understanding, how to succeed in a work environment and help others succeed as well.
And I didn't realise until I was given some tuition that women really do walk differently to men. I mean, men just sort of get on with, but for women,